Go.
Just gotta copy the link and paste it. Give me a second. Alright. What am I missing? I'm missing something. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Alright. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. This video will be up on YouTube shortly. You want to go ahead and give Star Wars introduction, just your name, rank, and unit?
Alright, well, 1st Lieutenant Blue, 1st Long Range Reconnaissance Group. It's a United States Army reconnaissance team. That's pretty much it.
Tell us about 1st LRRG.
Basically, I myself was shown some, documentaries and whatnot, and one of the friends I picked up recently was in apparently signals company, United States Army, and another guy that is active duty, so that's in our unit, is part of a scout platoon in the United States Army, and both of them told me that something that they haven't seen ever in the Milsim community was something related to the Army LRRG units. In Vietnam, just get dropped behind enemy lines, seeing what the enemy's doing, where they're moving in times. So I've been around the community for it, and I haven't seen something like that myself. So I went ahead and made 1st LRRG based on that, old present of that stuff. And the only thing I could find close to that in today's army is, of course, groups, but also cavalry scout. But other than that, I didn't see really anything bringing back that old tradition. So this is kind of my attempt at it, to sort of bring in this new kind of form of types of units, because you have your Muse, you have your Marstock and all that stuff, but I've never seen a purely reconnaissance based team. So that's kind of what we're shooting for here.
Fucking have my mic on mute.
What's going on? What happened?
No, I heard.
Supposed to restart the Xbox. Yeah. Fuck.
But you guys are BF1 Milsim, correct?
Yeah. I have never been really affiliated with Battlefield 1 as of yet.
Fucking, what do you think about the community? in BF4?
Um, it is basically, I'm really surprised to see where it's at. Ever since Battlefield 4 came out, um, I've kind of been involved with the community one way or the other, and to see where it came from, where raiding was always the last thing on everybody's mind and the thing nobody wanted to do, to participating in full day raids, and I guess you could consider it legitimate war documents that were pushed out and fought for months, to now what it is where if you send out a tweet, you could possibly get into a war with a 30 to 50 man unit. So I think it's sort of a powder cake, but obviously the thing on everybody's mind is 5MR, and throughout all this thing with 5MR, I've noticed that some teams that did not appreciate them, that didn't like them, this is kind of what they see as their time to shine, because they talked about them for the longest time, and 5MR would always shut them down. But I think people are forgetting one important thing, that the only thing that makes a situation better is that you act differently or do something differently than the person that screwed up. In this case, Crow screwed up. He was screwing up for a couple of months, but people didn't really take no executive action. Then declaring a war doc and formally complaining about him for God knows how long. I guess you could say, kind of throwing names out here, a specific interaction I have with the unit, an army unit, I'm not going to say their specific unit name, tried to push their war doc on 5MR. And I basically set out a tweet saying that I understand that there is a war document out, but you need to people or this unit is losing their commander that most people do not like anymore. There's people from 5MR tweeting out that this guy doesn't represent us. This is not what I want to be represented by. They took no charge in that and began to explain to me that he's blacklisted and all that stuff, and so I started out the questions with, so you're starting a war with the unit over a blacklisted member, that if he's blacklisted, he's not in that unit anymore. And they went on saying, what's your server password, what's your unit name, how many guys you have, are you in the chat? And when I started confronting him on, this has nothing to do with it, I asked you, he deleted almost every single one of his tweets that I screenshotted. And I was thinking that's really sad, because I've seen it time and time again over a couple years where people would follow the shadow, especially when 1FR was a thing, where these are the bad guys, we need to unite against them, and throw so much shade, and when they actually fall apart, disappear, they don't know how to handle the scene. They don't know what their actual mindset is, so it's kind of a mess right now. People don't know their own values.
Any thoughts on the BF1 side of the house?
I think it's amazing, even though I haven't really participated actively in it when it first came out a couple months in. I ran with a squad with my friends, and a couple units came at us. They want us to help out, they want us to do trainings, because we were recognized from the Battlefield 4 scene, and to see some of the tweets right now, executing some commander and all that stuff, doing trainings and all that, I think it really spiced up the community. But not gonna lie, at the start it was really rocky, especially when everybody almost shat themselves when Crow said he was hopping in and 1FR was hopping in. But overall, I think it's a good community, and it's really going somewhere. It's really pushing forward the Muslim community, which it did. think your mic's muted again.
Oh, god damn it. I keep forgetting that.
Come on, man. You're fucking pro.
God damn it. But,
Community looks at you and you're our CNN
shit.
right now.
Fuck. Trying to pull that bullshit.
Bullshit, yeah.
God, Emperor Trump is life. But, are there any plans on moving to BF1?
As it stands now, no, there's no official documents to move there. But, I do have friends requesting me to head over there, you know. I might help out here and there with some of my friends' units out there. Even though if they aren't official units, you know, I don't mind going over and helping out. But not at this time, no. There's no plans to move over there. And if they were, we would still have a standing on Battlefield 4 mainly.
Next question. You may have already answered this question, but screw it, we're gonna ask anyway. Are there any problems in the community that you see that could be fixed?
What I would like to see is that people understand their own unit paths, their unit core values, before they step into anything. It's easily fixed. It's something you could do overnight. Seriously. When I was making this team, you know, I really thought to myself, after 5 years of, you know, having to leave teams, joining teams, having them fall apart because the command structure wasn't there, and throughout all that craziness, I would say the first 2 to 3 years before things started, the commanding officer and the executive officer knew why they wanted to make this team. They knew what their goal and mission was, and to be honest, really why I might, you know, have the fun here and there, because it's kind of what Milsim, but reason why I'm not declaring war on First Safar, FTR, and 5MR, why I'm not joining coalitions against them and all that stuff, is because, and I want it to survive, that these people have a core value and they care about their team first. You really can't say for a second, instead of Crow's personal actions, that any of the units I just talked about have forgotten their core values in a formal setting. And what I said before, and I typed up a note and made a tweet about it, I said the only thing killing these huge teams, especially 5MR, is a stupid and unfiltered Twitter account. That they keep on saying stupid things, and stupid people take these out of context or gas them up to the point where the unit seems unofficial anymore, and it's just a shit talk fest. But without that, like in the past, where we didn't really utilize social media unless it was like Kick or some communications app to talk to our own guys, people kind of lost their way with that. But I think people need to really start working with and listening out to the bigger teams, because I kind of miss the days where when FTR, not 5MR back in the day, would open their doors to units and say, hey, we'll teach you a few things here and there. Of course, First Safar, though, they took kind of control of that and used that as a recruitment method for Milsims, which sucks. But I think the problem is that there's no helping smaller units anymore. There's none of that from what I see. Especially starting out, every ally that we're talking to, or if we had to go out to talk to, you know, putting up tweets, whatever it may be, trying to talk to people. But if you do not know this community, you're gonna feel like you're alone in it, because there's no open arms or open doors to introduce you. So I think the real problems that we have, mainly two of them, is loss of value, losses, and there's no introduction to this community. There's no helping hands to it, unless the person went out to talk to people that don't know, or most of the time people do not know who to talk to. So there's this weird like closeness that people are going to, where they show their unit as badass and don't talk shit to me, but at the same time they are the definition of milsim, or they are the gods of milsim. They about a smaller team. So I think those are some main key issues that some grown men in this community that pull out their age or pull out their seniority need to understand that if you actually help out smaller teams, you'll be able to understand this community a lot better.
Alright. And damn, I think a lot of these questions you probably already answered already.
I mean, yeah, because that's always going to be the biggest thing in this community. There's always going to be something to pick out about it, but it's at its worst. So, respectfully so, it's the talk of the century. Nelson Lines.
The talk of quote century. Alright, gonna ask it anyway. What do you think causes the most problems in the community? Wait, did I just already fucking ask that?
Yes, what are the problems in this community?
What do you think causes the most problems in the community?
I wouldn't say the smaller units. I would say the, medium-sized units from 30 to 40 guys. They're on this weird sort of high drive or like push that now they're finally getting to numbers that I have the power to talk shit now. I have the power to say what I need to say. When really, no matter your unit is, you should have that right to say what you think in a formal manner, obviously. It all goes back to the professionalism and value set where people just professional anymore or not. And also with stuff that used to never be a question as for usage and what weapons do we use, what ranks do we use, who do we represent, and how to do it. People just think that's behind closed doors now. Nobody really cares about it. So with a lot of people's unprofessionalism and all that, a lot of people say it's a game, but at the same time you're a part of a community that expects professionalism, that should be professionalism, and it's military based. Even with the men I have in my unit that are active duty, they expected a disciplined or military style feel, it being military simulation, where obviously there's going to be countless units where you're not going to see that. So all the problems start within the team, where they do not know why they're making it, and to get out there and to fight people whenever they want to. So it all starts within the team itself, not in the actual community. Everybody congregating together, everybody thinks of it as, oh, this guy said this said this, coalition formed, now we're fighting. That's the problem. No, it's not. That's why a lot of war docs today are saying you have to not be the commander of your unit anymore, completely disband your unit, because it starts within the person's team, or it starts with one person.
Alright. Is your unit in any wars or conflicts at the moment?
At the moment, no, we are not. We got very close to entering into a conflict, but what I'm planning for my unit to be is, my unit is not made to face a conventional force alone. We're meant to be tasked with the conventional force as a reconnaissance element or a SOC element, a special operations capable element. being that we have 2 recon teams and 2 strike teams. Any conflicts that we're going to be in the future, I am not going to let my unit as a reconnaissance group stand alone doing this, because it just doesn't make any sense. You wouldn't send a scout sniper platoon to fight a war by itself if you're a Marine team, even though people have done it, or a MARSOC team. You wouldn't, and meant just a MARSOC team to fight a war. So if there was to be any large conflicts, we would be tasked with a larger conventional force, but we do have a plan when we hit the 32 mark or around that area, switching to a conventional force. But gonna be looking to start anything unless we see somebody that really needs to be put down, because they are kind of, I guess you could say, perverting the name of Milsim and making it the thing it's not. And certainly, like, I'm glad I have an understanding of what it's supposed to be, seeing that I saw it start on Battlefield 4 from the beginning till now. So kind of lucky to kind of see that through, but no, we're not going to be the ones to declare war over Twitter or anything like that.
Alright. Next question, you speaking, just be about as honest as you can or so. Who do you think makes the most trouble in the community?
I guess at the moment, there's also been, I know it's been basically just repeat after repeat of 5MR, but other than 5MR, I saw somebody hop back into the community that I'm worried about, STR. Right when I started talking to some guys that have been in the community for a long fucking time, they began to fucking face palm and get headaches when they heard that STR was coming back to recruit active Milsims and to start this whole thing. And rightfully so, people started complaining right away. So other than STR, with me being worried about where they're gonna do and if they're gonna push, because I honestly feel like no good's gonna come from that case with STR. I have a problem with 1st Cavalry Division. Those are the people that were going to get into a conflict with us. And for a really stupid reason, I tried explaining, this is actually stupid that you're talking about this right now. Kind of deal with him. I haven't, there's many other teams out there that are like him, but right now my main focus on issue at the moment is 1st Cavalry Division, which, with the way that they acted, when I confronted him on how about waiting a little bit, where 5MR actually has a stable leader before pushing a war dog, getting their time of part and have their men leaving to make a more successful team. And what really kind of made me laugh at them and considered them as a joke was when I came at them with, are you going to answer with the statements I said? Are you going to answer any questions I said? They deleted absolutely everything regarding the situation. I still have it. I still have screenshots of it. I always do that if I were to get into a conflict with somebody. But I would say at the moment, the possibility of Crow returning and 1st Cavalry Division are the main issues that I see on the rise, including STR.
Alright. Last question I have is, what do you wish to see? What do you wish to see changed in the Milsim community?
I wish to see, and this is not really something common that you hear people say in the community, I wish to see the comeback, because people do not know what to think now. They have no figure to look up. They have no SMSTR anymore. They have no first to far knocking on their door or FTR knocking on their door. Hey, branch, use what they use, and all that. We don't have that anymore unless you face somebody. And the old mindset was the thing that comes first is getting your team together and appreciating and playing with the people that currently. People have a dead mindset on recruitment, and that leads to already in their team working their asses off. And how some people wonder why aren't MNN working as hard? Probably because you're not paying attention to them. The second part of that mindset is making your team combat effective and making sure they're emulating what they're supposed to. Being that if you're a Marine team, I should be able to throw you guys on Gulf of Oman. You could perform a B trade and clear out some buildings. And then if you're an airborne unit, I should expect you that after the Marines secure the location, Army airborne goes flying over and assaults another objective as that happens. But I have to kind of ask the unit before talking to them, are you actually qualified in what you represent? And also what they're using with really stupid problem with knights and all that stuff. It's like, if it's not American, do not use it. Or if it's nowhere close to what you're trying to represent, do not use it. And the last part of it is the wars and operations, or yeah, raids pretty much. That was absolutely last thing to do. And when it did come up, it was team versus team. If they brought in allies, they were smaller than the standing teams, and you all are sitting at your spawn, and basically it's go time. One team would set up on an objective, other one would prepare to attack it. Then after those first shots are fired, everybody's free to move. I do support how people do Firewatch now and then, but there's also this missing aspect of an organized fight. Basically, we have forgotten to allow people to stage, or actually no, some teams still do it, but it's smaller and having an effect as on war. But the war docs are copy and paste nowadays, and especially one I've seen from some unit, I don't know if it was First Cavern, but they declare wars because of single peoples, like in the entire team. Like, a single shouldn't be able to start a war unless that person's a commander or a staff member.
That just seems to be the kind of norm going around nowadays.
Like that's actually stupid. So I wouldn't declare on a war on 5MR because of Crow. The only reason I would declare war on 5MR is if they start pushing on other teams that do not deserve to be pushed on my team as a whole. And that's when I figure out that their unit has different opinions, and that a lot of their men are saying that their commanding officer doesn't represent their ideas, and people are getting blacklisted for it. Unnecessary. People do not declare wars for the right reasons. That's no matter how bad First FR or 5MR or FTR ever was, or with some problems with, I guess, like the large units that we've seen. The most clean from all of them was 4th Infantry Division. They kept it clean. They really kept it clean. But I think we need those figures back. We need those big teams to be assertive and kind of push behind the bullshit that comes around. But people made coalition after coalition, document after document, different versions of SMSTRs to try to push them out, to make them irrelevant. And basically now people are not understanding, but I'm understanding that these guys are going to come back and they're going to fucking kill you. They're going to kill your entire unit. They're going to steam. You're going to have to hide in the server on private to get away from these guys, or completely disband your team. I think that's why 5MR lashed out the way it did with kind of the conquest it went through. They saw a whole bunch of little teams gathering together saying, fuck you, fuck this, you can't do this, you can't do that. And they're like, okay, here's my arsenal. You want to talk crap about? We need more. We need more of the big teams to be more assertive than they are right now. Kind of like this disgusting tumor grow that they're pretty much trying not to relate. So, yeah. I guess the one thing I want to see is I want to see these big teams come back in a big way and to be more assertive.
But wasn't it that assertiveness to what caused people to resent them?
Pretty much the main reason that I could start off with first so far, at this time they were hand in hand with FTR, so Lothing game as for mindset wise. They tried to correct people. They tried to correct other teams. You're not supposed to use this, you're not supposed to use that. Mon is using Chinese scopes, Russian scopes, different weapon systems that are not made for a basic unit, basic infantry unit, and active protection, things along those lines. Where do you think the SMSCR came from? It was from that. But what certain people did that wanted these attachments, that wanted these weapons, that wanted that this is their method of taking this community over. This is their mess under the bus. And no, it's not. It's what it's there for is for you to stop fucking up what we have here. It's to stop you from screwing over the community that we want to play in the way we want. And the way we wanted it, and the way a lot of larger teams wanted it, field, and the other unit I'm facing, I should feel as if that these guys are a digital version of the national military they represent. Everything that they use, the tactics they use, the tactics that nation uses, and its armies. And that's kind of the main reason why the bigger teams were shut down because of their assertiveness, was because they were trying to correct people and to bring them back from their own crazy minds out to get them, and everybody's trying to take over this community. And what usually resulted of that is that they pushed on them, saying that if you're not going to follow by what we have in place, being that we've been here for years and you've been here for a couple months or a couple of weeks, we will absolutely crush you. And basically everybody gassed that up and made it explode, like these guys are the enemy, these guys are disgusting, we need to get them out. And whole sheep herd mindset. So people bog down on bigger teams. Yep. My first team was 75th Rangers. It was a 20-man group. We never got involved in the war. It was just operations, just special operations in our own private server. I was a part of First Safar. I was part of Field Team and their former name, Field Team Regiment. Got into 4th ID because I literally just didn't have the time to join another big team, but I've been in all those teams, and honestly, if I haven't made the mistakes I did as for mistakes or excuses to leave that team, I would be in those teams today, hands down. The only thing that really pushed me away is knowing the months to years that I would have to spend to pretty much do anything within the team, and kind of to the point where they're so large that it's going to take you months to get all your training done, and throughout all that stuff, do not expect action. So my childish mind there was like, fuck that, I need to get something under my belt, I need to start doing something, so I just left them. But if I hadn't made that mistake, I would still be there. So yeah, I'd been in those teams before, I fought against those teams before, not as a commander of a unit, but as a I guess you could say a foot soldier for teams fighting against them. But yeah, I've been with them.
Alright. Well, that's pretty much all I got for you today.
Alright.
Thank you for taking time out of the day to join us on the stream tonight.
Yeah, same for you. Thanks for having me.
Anything you want to say before you dip out?
Um, really what I want the main message to be from all this is for people to really think about why are they in this community. Try to learn the history of it. If not, hit me up on Xbox in 5 years. Hell, hit somebody up from 1FR. They've been around for 8 years to 9 years. Um, and to really think to yourself, do I want this community or do I want this team to be about me and my goals or what I want to do or my personal adventures? Do I want it make it fun and do I want it make it to what people signed up for in my team? Is what I want people to take away from this. Um, have fun, but at the same time, make sure you're preserving this community that we have because at the moment, this is my dearest community, and it is to a lot of other people. So that's really what I want people to take away from it all.
Alright. First long range reconnaissance group, ladies and gentlemen. Again, thank you all your day to join us.
Anytime.
I'm on mic up. God damn it. But, yeah, alright. Well, that's pretty much. Go ahead and dip out.
Alright, see you.
Alright, see you. Everyone tuning in, or just tune in, video will be up here later tonight or tomorrow morning. For those who tuned in tonight and watched it all through it all, just got one song from it. One song for you guys. Happy Halloween. Alright.